Hello, duckies and dice fiends. Welcome. It is the Table Talk Show. It is Tuesday. I am Kay. I am one of your hosts. I am here with David, other host, and we are going to be talking about this beast.
Yeah.
But before we do that, David, who the heck is we?
Hi. I am very excited to talk about the PHB and also am a little fuzzy, which I am fixing. But hi, I'm David, and this is the Chaotic Wholesome Presents TTRPG verbalizing talk show where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better player, how to be a better GM, how to be a better person, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusivity so that everybody can have a good time.
And I was cursing Wacom for updating their tablet software and making it so one of the essential features of my pen didn't work. And it turns out they just enabled Windows. I had to go back. And it wasn't even Wacom. That was Windows going, oh, you updated? I'm just going to turn all of these features back on. So I'm now happier because I'm not fighting a battle that I shouldn't be fighting. Hey, Ribbonanza, welcome on in. And all of you, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for joining us today. This week, you can find, obviously, you find David and I right here. You can find us also right here, Thursday, Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. Hey, DC, welcome on in. How was Gen Con? We'll be continuing our playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. That should be a great time. And goodness, yeah, I have a lot going on between now and then, but none of it is going to be on the internets, or at least not on the internets yet. So we will see you on Tuesday, if we don't see you Thursday or Friday. Currently plotting what's going to happen next episode, but hey, Ilaria, welcome in. Mintia Lama, Lamia, welcome on in. Hello. So, I'm a little frazzled today. David has heard the screams. I'm not putting it out, but it was a day of like, am I really the professional? I'm really the professional. I'm better at my job than I think I am.
Mm-hmm.
But that is neither here. We are going to talk about here's the 2024 Player's Handbook. Dragons. WotC was kind enough to a copy. We thank you very much. And yeah, we're so if you all have questions,
I have
start
questions.
throwing them into chat.
I have questions. I'm first in line.
David's going to ask questions, and I'm going to ramble. And yeah, what you got for us, David? Now, let me be clear. There are a couple embargoes that I still cannot go over, so I cannot talk about show stat blocks or monsters and other such things. But if we run into one of those, I will let you.
Also, chat, I need you to know that every week there are things that happen on the internet that incense both Kay and I. And we have a platform. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want. And yet we don't come on here and immediately go into whatever stupid shit we saw on the internet that's awful, that makes me want to set things on fire. Controlled burns, targeted strikes, not the reckless arson that leads to, like, you know, people being fire inspectors. There's a correlation. Anyway, point is, we don't do that, and you're welcome. But so my two questions are, one, well, I have more than two questions. My first two questions are, one, what was the first like big thing that you noticed that was different? And two, tell me about the dwarves.
Okay. Sorry, I have to.
And how does Mr. Wiggles factor in to the player's handbook? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Right? I'm like, so, obviously, the first thing that I did when I got the player handbook, I did a quick flip art, which apparently the art is getting shat on a lot, and I don't agree with that. I think art is different, and I think it is a very cool difference considering the newer tone of that in a moment. After flipping through just to look at art and pretties, I obviously went and looked up TV.
Yep. Always a good first
Obviously.
one. Yeah. That was going to be your first stop.
Things can be small.
They made
You
them
can pick your
tiny.
size as small or medium.
They can be fun sized.
So one of the bigger, uh, all the classes are there, not alchemist, not blood hunter, but the standard classes have all returned. There are 4 subclasses for each class.
Hmm.
It's a more limited selection at the moment. But the character creation part of it, especially where these is a lot more lean, short than it, because, and I have some mixed feels about this, a lot of the stuff that you tied to are now tied to background. So the background you starting it, which obviously a big change, because honestly, how many people actually,
Right.
if we look at these, every background has a little splash screen.
Yeah, that's
Art,
cool
kind
as
of
shit.
giving a feel for it. It tells you your ability scores. What you get buffs to come from your background, not your speed. So if you're a noble, you get strength, intelligence, charisma. If
How do
you
you get
are
strength
a
as a
sage,
noble?
assume they're going to make you
I know, but every novel I've ever even heard of has been soft as shit. It's been fucking ten-ply. Born of Charmin.
But you're going to have to talk to WotC about it.
I will write a strongly worded letter.
So,
thanking it for a PHP.
So your ability scores come from your background instead of get a feat based on your background. So nobles get skilled, sages get magic initiative. Something about the background art, they said at the Gen Con panel, there's a furry friend hidden in each of those pictures. Well, now I have to stare at the art even more. I love that
Finally.
every origin has a friend.
Finally. They are speaking our language.
Right? So ability score, you get a feat based off of your background. You get skill proficiency based off of your background. You get tool proficiency based on your background. And then you get your starting equipment. So for noble, you choose either A or B. A gaming set, so the nobility, your that get that gaming. Fine clothes, perfume, and 29 GP. Or you can just start with 50 GP. And it's 50 GP across the board or a set. And honestly, this is where I've got some mixed, because I do feel like I understand why they are narrowing this down and why they are really simplifying it. But it's also like, what if I've got a sage background, I probably am already a magic user. What if I don't want magic initiative? Right? What if, the sage comes with a quarterstaff, cartographer supplies, a book about history, a parchment sheet, and 8 GP? Probably don't want that. I'm probably starting
with the 50.
Gold. Yeah, I probably am going to be going to my GM and going, can I switch out this feat? This feat does not match what I have. Hey, Rex, thank you so much for the reset. That's 2 years, 24 months. So much, Rex. I can't believe it's I can't believe it's been 2 years. I can't believe it's already. So I do like that it has been moved off of species, that bioessentialism, right? But I think very few people who are not beginners and fresh on the dice boat are going to use the backgrounds as they have been provided.
So I was on the intertubes and I read a thread from, let's be real, a bunch of white men complaining that the traits had been moved off of races and into backgrounds. And they were complaining that orcs weren't orcs anymore because it didn't have the, and I'm a couple of things. So one of the complaints about Star Trek, and I understand that I'm going to Star Trek, I apologize, is that planet Earth is full of hundreds of cultures and dozens of languages. And every planet they go to is one culture and one language, occasionally two.
And when it's two, there's always a whole thing around.
Right. There's always like racism. Like it's always racism bad, which I appreciate because at this point, we cannot have enough racism bad messaging. We cannot have enough misogyny bad messaging ever. Like let's just lock in for now until the end of time.
Yeah.
Because Jesus Christ. Anyway, what D&D has suffered from the same problem of no matter what, if you are a particular race, you start out with blank. Like if you're an ogre, then, or not an ogre, if you're an orc, then I forget what the racial traits from ogre in current is, but it's basically like, and I appreciate WotC
Plus strength,
like
plus con, relentless endurance, menacing.
Right, black people, and I appreciate WotC for over the years phasing out like the black coded stuff, but even if you're not taking it from the this is black stereotype, it locks in locks out players from being able to go, I am playing a different version of this. Like maybe you want to play a dumb bonkum elf. Maybe you want to play an intellectual half orc. And that's like one of the things that Baldur's Gate showed people is that just because you're born, spawned, however you conceive it, an illithid, doesn't mean that you have to be an evil brain sucker.
And just because you're a barbarian doesn't mean you're mad and grumpy and mean or not intelligent.
Right.
Like Sherlock is.
Right. And
like when your barbarian is just randomly busting a move, you know you've got a great party.
Right. And so moving it off of the racial traits gives you an ability to see a society as more than just like blank. And then again, going back to Star Trek, like Klingons were always perceived as like they're all warriors, and it's like they can't all be all warriors because they can fly in space.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't until like Star Trek Enterprise,
scientist.
Right? And they need more than one. They need at least two. And it wasn't until Star Trek Enterprise that they really like discussed that and explored that and talked about how it evolved into a warrior forward race. So, right. Shout out to Amelum. So for me, it resolves that problem that D&D has always had of, well, you're not necessarily painted into a corner, but you're starting off on the wrong foot, and that is enough to get someone to not play a race. And my second point about reading that thread is this. Ain't none of y'all motherfuckers ever rolled an orc. Not once. Not once. None of you have played orcs. You've either played humans, elves, or dwarves. That's it. Maybe one of y'all played a half elf at some point. But I think y'all had a problem with like the race mixing and decided that you weren't going to.
Well, that's a thing we need to talk about.
Okay.
There is no race mix anywhere. No even mention of it.
There's no like half elves and shit?
Now, this is both good and bad, right? Because look, I am okay. I am technically race. They're just all white, right? Like, I have never dealt with the trauma, good and bad, like the good and, hey, Lady Luck, welcome. Thank you for the work and lurk. I hope you had fun with Diablo, and I hope you're having a good work. I have never dealt with the experience, the trauma, the joys of being mixed race, right? But the whole you are half thing is it's rough, right?
Now, there's a whole rant I can go on about this that I'm not going to go on. You're welcome. That's 2 you're welcomes today. But on the one hand, I'm very happy that I can't get an elf or dwarf or tiefling pregnant. Very pleased about that.
But I am really sad that my every other race.
Right. And it's
look,
like,
this is not slut shaming. This is just like you just made it with everybody.
Yep.
So there are good things to that language being, and if you went through the whole Unearthed Arcana when they were playtesting all this, you know, they initially had sections that were clearly them trying to figure out the correct way to test this. There was things like, sometimes people from two different species get together, and the incredible, unique offspring that come from these unusual couplings or something like that. And it was just like,
Gross. Gross.
like that's also not good, right? Like they learned that real quick and took that out. But like, I'm in an interesting place with this. Like, it is good that they recognized what was wrong, right? Why it was problematic for some of this. But they also didn't like address it. They just went, we're just gonna pretend like it's not a thing. Which again, I have always been like, hey, GM, I want to play a T-Fork. Can I take an orc and just replace the menacing, because they're not menacing, right? Can I just, or, you know, I want to play an ASMR that looks like a tiefling. Can I just have tiefling description and just use the ASMR stat block? So there is nothing in here that says you can't be like, oh, I am elf. I'm using the elf stat block, but my dad was not. The only thing that comes to that is then you're trancing thing for elves, but not for humans. So how do you, right? So that's a whole discussion you have to have with your GM, but I don't know. It's good and it's bad. Hello, Reverend End Times. How are you? Thank you for joining us. We are discussing Player's Handbook 2024 edition. The other thing I'm going to point out is that all of the like art, which side is this? Sorry, I'm trying to do this backwards in the camera. If you look at art in they tend to be group shots, which some of the old school, I don't want to say angry, but angry folks have taken offense to. Oh, I didn't notice this before. So here's, right, look at how cute they are. The elves is just a ship. So a lot of them have been like, nothing about these, like, these aren't hero images, aren't images about the species excited to play that species. And it's like, no, but they're group shots. They're encouraged to think about, what is your background like? What was your like? I actually find really interesting. Also, Goliaths are now.
Ooh, I might look. Everybody who has seen me play a game knows that I play humans, but I might cook up a right. And you see now, okay, so that picture specifically, because I've seen that online.
Yep.
It's a little Mexican coded.
Yep.
Right. So for one, the people who make these complaints are so fucking fragile.
Yeah.
They're so fragile and pedantic because they insist that they require absolute spoon feeding of every little thing. And they're the first people to toss out the rules they don't like.
Right.
And so for me, at least, the point of those images is not just to be inclusive, because there's a whole lot of like, oh, well, the woke mob, yada, yada. Also, the quote unquote woke people, woke, y'all took it and you've been using it wrong ever since. And please stop. It hurts. But in addition to being a focus on inclusivity, in addition to like the reason that a black woman became an astronaut is because she saw Uhura on Star Trek. Like people come to like people become monster fuckers because they see a monster they want to have sex with. They hear Tim Curry's voice on an animated feature and then it's over. Like, but in addition to that, you have to conceptualize a bigger world than I cast fireball or I hit with sword or some derivation thereof. The Forgotten Realms is not a place of constant combat. It is a place where there are societies and there are civilizations, and too much of the focus on D&D specifically since day one has been, how are you going to bonk things? If by no other reason than the fact that there are no retreat rules in the combat.
And you do mean bonk, not bonk.
Right.
They also dislike that unless it's extremely heteronormative.
And so it's infuriating to me that there is this contingent of people who are interested, and I say interested in because I bet you a bunch of these people don't actually play, of people who are interested in keeping D&D to be this extremely narrow focused thing, when there's all this lore and there's all this world building and there's all this stuff that has been a part of D&D for decades now, that they're now using the art to encourage the audience to interact with. Like, why are you mad that there's more to interact with? Why are you mad that this is expanding? It's like yelling at somebody that you're pissed off that there's more than 151 Pokemon. Like,
I've been yelled at about that.
Right. And they're wrong. You saw Mewtwo back in like 1998 and you've been pissed off ever since. Let it go. Let things expand. Let things grow.
So quickly, all now have a move 30 feet. Small folk, with the exception of Goliaths, who have a 30.
I don't know. I feel like I could outrun a gnome.
So look, combat wheelchair, official.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Every niche community has that oh no moment when their interest becomes more mainstream. Yes. And that's part of what it is. It's like all these people are like, well, they keep I like someone who was complaining about the art, complaining about it all being moved. So the big complaint we're seeing from the old school crew is that well now species don't matter anymore. It's like, yeah, like tieflings. Tieflings get magic. Humans get basically an inspiration point after every long rest. Yeah.
Maybe I'm playing a human.
Orcs get adrenaline rush and dark vision and relentless endurance, right? So orcs have changed. Again, orcs
So
get
they're just
adrenaline
bitching
rush.
about nothing then.
Orcs aren't inherently strong anymore. You can build a strong orc. Go do it. No one's stopping you. Gnomes have fast feet and low mass, right? Like look, David, I'm shorter than you.
Mm-hmm.
But you've seen how fast I can walk, much less.
Yep. You can move.
But yeah, a lot of it is just like these the same people who are complaining are the ones who are like, oh, 3.5, my beloved, 3.5 is everything. Cool, then why? Like, clearly
go
you want
play it, my guy.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward to remaking all of my gnome characters. So, like, orcs get adrenaline rush, and this is a thing that wasn't there before. Take the dash action as a bonus action. You gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your...
Wow.
You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses to finish a shorter. So like with tieflings, there are three. There's infernal, chthonic, and abyssal tieflings, and they each get different. They each get a level 1 spell, a level 3 spell, and a level 5 spell. What that spell is depends on what kind of tiefling. Similarly, okay, so ASMR again. I'm like on ASMR because the ASMR are much closer to advised ASMR. I prefer the legacy ASMR. So ASMR, you get Celestial Radiance, have resistance, necrotic, and radiant damage. Dark Vision, Healing Hands. As a magic action, you creature and roll a number of d4s equal to your proficiency bonus. Creature regains a number of hit points equal to rolled, and you can use it again after a long rest. Light Bearer, you know the light cantrip. I don't care about cantrips, right? Like,
I mean, there are a couple cantrips I care about.
Yeah. So you also get like a Celestial Revelation based upon what kind of ASMR you are, which there's Heavenly Wings, Inner Radiance, and Necrotic. Dragonborn, they get Breath Weapon, and they get a elemental resistance based on what kind of dragon, right? That tracks. But we gotta talk about dwarf. Subtitles picking up as Legacy ASMR. Yes. Come, our Legacy.
No.
Look, I am waiting for someone to be a fool and invite me to a modern D&D game so I can play an ASMR who does ASMR. But if you think I'm not doing that, you are wrong. You don't know me. To drink in the psychic damage.
Look, this will be a hot tub channel before it is an ASMR channel. Okay, like let's be clear about that now.
So
I fill a trash can with water. It'll continue.
Dwarves. You get dark vision, obviously. Dwarven resilience, you have resistance to poison damage. You have advantage on saving throws that you make to avoid or end the poison condition. Dwarven toughness, your hit point maximum increases by 1 and increases by 1 again every time you gain a level. Okay, I will do that with my growly voice, and we will have so many people subbing. Stone cunning. I know you know exactly where I'm going with this. Stone cunning, as a bonus action, you gain tremor sense with a range of 60 for 10 minutes. You must be on a stone surface or touching a stone surface to use tremor sense. The stone could be natural or worked. You could use this bonus action a number of times, equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain it on a long rest.
Oh, a spitty dwarf now has stone sense.
Now, this is even more funny for me, y'all, because Steph is not in chat, but she made the mistake of allowing me to homebrew species, and I basically made a vegetation genasi. I made a Leshy Pathfinder, and they had tremor sense through plant roots because they were a plant person, and they had to be immobile when they did it. They had to actually put roots into the ground. But if they could put roots into the ground, they could tap into the root network, and they could have tremor sense. And I'm like, once again, a thing that I decided WotC has gone, yes, this is, or at least something incredibly similar to this is now canon. My vivid imagination is just picturing an actual rubber duck in a kiddie pool, hosting a show and voiced by David, and that would be well worth it to be. Yeah. I can't wait till y'all get to see. I've only seen a few of them. I can't wait for y'all to see David section. Or have a VTuber duck so we can animate the David rants. David loves VTuber. David wants to be a VTuber. Hey, Kryzikon, welcome in. Welcome all. Thank you for hanging out with us. We are discussing the 2014 Player's Handbook. We have gone through a bunch of species, gone through kind of backgrounds and what hits you. What else do y'all like? What can I? Yeah, David is really good at hiding his feelings. David is not at all. Also, I need to talk about this paladin. This is maybe my favorite art in the entire book. This orc paladin is just everything I want to be her.
Yeah, that's again, I don't understand complaints levied against the art in this book.
Look, I'm gonna reference a Twitter thread, right? But it was by the incredible Danielle Radford, and like a day or two after we were so fortunate to have her on the channel for our Juneteenth game. And like I wake up, I think it was the next morning, and I wake up to a Danielle Radford tweet blowing up on my feed that's just like, they made orcs fuckable and y'all are complaining.
Right. Like, come on.
So yes, Dave's gonna hurt me IRL for my suggestions tonight, and I deserve it. I'm excited to see that smackdown.
It depends on how much alcohol you have purchased me beforehand. I can be bribed.
Also, like a lot of the art and illustration, like nat 20 versus an average versus a nat 1.
My question is, did they like add or rework any of like the spells?
So I know, okay, I will be honest, I have not sat down and like super dug through the spells to compare them to, I'm gonna say the one, oh yeah, College of Glamour Bard. Look, I play a College of Glamour Bard, and Kinley is the best worst. The best worst. Specifically, I know that Ice Knife was not reworked at all. Ice Knife is exactly as it was.
Good.
But I'll tell you what was reworked. And this is the one that, if y'all are here, you probably already know this. But spiritual weapon. Our dear, dear friends. Now a constant.
What? Was it not useless enough?
We've
Look,
gotten so much good work out of.
You get better action economy out of spiritual weapon. You get great action economy out of spiritual weapon, sure. However, God's favorite princess couldn't hit the broadside of a bar.
No, and neither can her weapon.
Right.
Look, Kinley is not a lore bard. Kinley is a glamour bard. But Kinley is just charisma stacked, right? Oh, I keep fading out. Oh dear. Spiritual weapon is now a concentration spell. It might just be my moving around and holding the book between. I can do this though. My GM then made a mistake and gave us a magic item that goes around, that's a choker, that just means that my bardic inspiration is the maximum. I don't have to roll it. She also made the mistake that, hey, Andina, and welcome on in, Raiders. Thank you for joining us. We are Kay and David. We are Chaotic Presents, and we are discussing the 2024 Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook. So if you have questions, please ask them. We are do our best to answer them. But we are on a quick tangent, which is my home game, College of Glamour Bard. The GM gave me a magic item that means that I don't have to roll my bardic inspiration. It's just the maximum dice immediately, so long as I'm wearing that magic item. And she also decided that Kinley is very inspired by himself, so Kinley can give themselves bardic inspiration. So basically, unless I roll a nat 1, it is like at level 4, it was pretty much impossible for me to roll below a 17 on a charisma check, which was a problem. To let you move spiritual weapon and the same turn as you cast it. I will look that up, one moment. But before I do, I got to show you. Look at this suave rogue. Look at this suave rogue, y'all. Look at this.
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Look at this. I want to be him.
And again, it circles back to, like, how are you not finding heroic looking art in this fucking book?
Yeah.
What are you even looking again? Look. Yet again, I am irritated by people who find an excuse to lobby complaints over things when they're mad that other people engage with them.
Spirit Guardian, spiritual weapon. As a bonus, okay. The force appears within range of your space and of your choice, and you can immediately make one melee attack against a creature within 5 feet of the force. On a hit, the target takes damage equal to 1d8. As a bonus action on your turns, you can move the force up to 20 feet and repeat the attack. So no, it looks like you have to drop it, but you do get a first attack as part of your turn. Oh, thank you so much for this follow, Spoopy Me. It's we are nearing the spoopy season, so we're glad you're here. We are big fans of the spoopy season.
I'm sorry, but July 1st hit. And spoopy season. Like the end of Pride basically indicates the begin of spooky season.
I don't disagree.
A portal opened and a spirit Halloween emerged on July 1st. And foed its way into every abandoned building all across America.
So, you know the Oath of the Ancients, Paladin, which you know so well because you had to learn how to speak horse?
Yeah.
The art is just
that's
amazing.
fantastic.
Look at that. Look at that suave mofo. Pride leads into the spoopy season. Exactly. Ministry taught me that every day is Halloween. In the back, spoopy season never ends. The end of Pride indicates the beginning of fear, right? If Pride month is over, it's time for wrath.
Yeah. And funny enough, October is time for lust.
I am unfortunately going to be unable to use the new player's handbook for the 5e game that I'm currently in because Drake Warden did not make the cut for Rangers.
Speaking of, did they fix Rangers? No, they didn't. Oh boy, tell me about the Rangers.
Okay, let me pull up. I just had this open. David has, for those of you who are new here and not in our Discord, where I've been called out multiple times and I need
to wade in and
David has opinions about Rangers. Okay, so We got some monster lovers up in here. Look at this sorcerer. Look at this sorcerer, y'all. Tell me. Tell me. Also, I feel like this is absolutely WotC officially giving a nod to the Dirge. The Dark Urge character in Baldur's Gate is a Dragonborn, like a bluish Dragonborn by default.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it not showing up well? Make sure it focuses nicely.
I mean, I can see it on Zoom.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
it's showing up on the stream.
Okay, I am back to hunting for rangers. I'm trying to remember where they are. Okay.
Yeah.
Druid.
The Dirge was very, very white, and I didn't have any complaints about that.
Okay. Okay, so while I found it, y'all, the Bard subclass art. Like, look at this.
That is someone who is having a party.
Right? And then, the College of Glamour. So that one that I just showed is the College of Dance, which is now a subclass. Here's the College of Glamour.
Isn't there a spell that makes you dance like
Irresistible Dance.
Right.
I used it last time we played.
Right.
I was like, oh, you want to go delete this guy, Kessla? He's dancing. He's at disadvantage to everything. And like, y'all, just look at this. This is the cover art for Bard. Look at that tiefling.
Fabulous. That is a fabulous bard.
We stand that Bard. Okay. This is Barbarian. Path of the Wild at Heart, Path of the Zealot. Okay, Barbarian. Okay, so these are in alphabetical order, apparently. I hadn't figured that out. Fighter. Paladin. I guess it makes sense that they're in alphabetical order. Okay. The Ranger. Primary abilities, Dexterity and Wisdom. Hit point die, D10 per Ranger level. Saving throw proficiencies in Strength and Dexterity. Let's see. So one thing that they have that's really cool is they have a breakdown of becoming a ranger at level 1. Here's what you get. And then it has, as a multi-class character, you get these things.
Okay.
So like, as a level 1 character, if you become a ranger, you gain all the traits in the core ranger traits table and gain the ranger's level 1 features, which are listed over there. As a multi-class character, gain the following traits from the core ranger traits table. Hit point die proficiency with martial weapons, proficiency with one skill of your choice from the ranger's skill list, and training with light and medium armor and shields. Gain the ranger's level 1 features, which are listed above. See the multi-classing rules in Chapter 2 to determine your available spell slots. So there are specifically different things that you get when you multi-class versus if you start at level 1. Ranger is an amazing way you can stack all the things in one attack. Gives you so much damage. Fair. I like Gloomstalker Rangers, and I love being a Drake Warden, y'all. Drake Wardens make me so happy. So basically, one of the problems with Rangers is that pretty much all their spells are concentration. That hasn't changed too much. I did this earlier, and I don't remember who I sent it to, so I'm gonna have to do it manually. But like level 1, 1, 2, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 level 1 ranger spells. Of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of those are concentration.
That's
7, 12, 13, 15, 17, 18. So level 2, there's 18 ranger spells. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of those are concentration. Hey, Jason, welcome in. So the ratio of concentration isn't bad until level 4. And at level 4, there's 7 ranger spells. All but one of them are concentration. And level 5 spells, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 level 5 spells, and 2 of them are concentration. But one of those is Tree Stride. And like, who actually needs to use Tree Stride while concentrating on another spell? To be fair.
I mean, if you multi-class, pass out trace.
I mean, if you're a Gloomstalker, you don't even have to multi-class to get past without a trace.
But again, my beef with the Rangers is if you're not because like I am not one of like the huge theory crafting nerds. I lack the mathematics background and the autism. I don't have enough superpowers in order to do that, but I do tinker. And in Baldur's Gate, I did some tinkering. And it's like, now, Baldur's Gate doesn't have Drake Warden because they don't have like dragons that you could just have, which fair.
More's the shame.
Right. But if you are not a Gloomstalker rogue, you are wasting your time. Or not a Gloomstalker rogue, a Gloomstalker hunter. Now, Ranger. You can make it.
3rd time's the charm.
But you can make the same argument with rogue, where if you're not the thief subclass, you're kind of wasting your time because the extra bonus action is enormous, especially when you get to the one-handed crossbows.
Prezikon, I'm going to say something, and I quite literally cannot say anything else other than this because of reasons. But I cannot tell you how much that statement stabbed me personally directly through the heart. That is all. That is all.
But it's frustrating when you want to go do a thing and you want to have options because you play Bard, all of them are viable. Every subclass is cool and can do cool stuff and can do stuff proportional to. Same thing with Paladin. I love Paladins because literally every oath sounds cool.
Yeah. Jason says, I'm a theory crafting nerd, but not a min-maxer. Have a good night, y'all. Yeah, like David knows I will theory craft. I have 100% min-maxed without meaning to. I was like, oh, let's do this cool character. This is their background. How would I build them in the game? It would be, oh no, I've broken it. That's why Soul is in Starfinder and not 5e, because by level 6, Soul breaks the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And already we've seen Kinley in Baldur's Gate 3 break several encounters.
They were also intended to be broken, though.
Yeah, but like...
I mean, look, you don't get to throw shade at Kinley for breaking encounters after the jailbreak that Kessler did.
Yep. Oh, man. It was so good.
I'm trying to decide on suitable trauma for a druid's backstory. Look, trauma for a backstory is so important. Like, also, again...
Look, it's very easy to kill the parents. This time, try killing the kids. Oh, no. No, the offspring are safe. They're safe. David,
we've heard this story before, so apologies to those, but I wrote a character backstory where I'm like, Mom is still alive, right? Mom is out there, and the line I put at the end of the whole thing is, she loved him as much as she was capable of loving anything other than herself.
Woof. Woof.
And that is how you do character trauma, where the GM can absolutely destroy you with it. My lore bard's persuade is ridiculous. Yes, persuade is, yeah, by level like 12 with the lore bard, you can basically just overthrow countries with a request. A question: did the new PPH fix 5e? Sick burn, got him. Yeah, well, it certainly got pretty art. Look at this Fey Wanderer ranger. Look at this. Look at this suave mother lover. But yes, now I haven't I'm not a math person, so I can't sit down and look at the numbers and like math it out. But
just cast magic missile. Someone else did the math.
Right. I feel like we can always use more orphans. Yeah, that's what our home game characters believe. You can always use more orphans, just give them some more knives.
Yeah.
To be fair, I did not do that. That was not me.
Yep.
I do think that especially if you go Hunter or Beastmaster, it does feel like Ranger is going to, feels like two of the Rangers are going to move closer to Druid, whereas the others are going to be kind of in that space of not quite fighter, not quite rogue. That is my feel from reading over this, but again, I'm not a math person. I can't look at the numbers and be like, this is what will happen. Patricide becomes defensible when the orphans outnumber the adults.
Yeah, in our home game, usually there's an orphan crushing machine in which you feed the machine orphans. They instead built an orphan crushing machine where the orphans crush.
We gave all the orphans knives.
Stabbing machine?
Yeah. Because orphans were going missing. So our wonderful dwarf, who's now going to have stone sense, tremor sense, was like, oh, well, here's a bunch of knives, and if anyone tries to do anything bad to you, stab them. And they did.
Mm-hmm. And now the town guard is looking for either a serial killer or a band of murderers because a bunch of dudes just ended up in corners bleeding to death.
Seems like a slicey, dicey proposition. Yes, indeed, Rex. You can borrow my blind tiefling druid story if you like. The grove, they were, oops, too much chatting. Hey, Domo came. They were intended to do was burnt to cinders by said druid when they were attempting to defend it from invasion. Oof. Yeah.
Ooh.
So as a lot of you know, I'm part of the Emergency Power podcast, which is a Starfinder game where I play Soul, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's also not direct enough to where if you haven't listened and you're interested, it won't like give anything vital away. But I quite literally pitched this character to my GM as like, I want to play a character. I want to bring in this character at the lowest point in their life. And I want them to be the architect of their own suffering. Like that is my vision for this.
I've met men.
Well, Soul is a disaster queer space they. So, but yes, I know DC also has the book and has been flipping through it. If you all have questions, David and I are just rambling, but if you have questions, I will be so happy to answer them. Okay, so here's the other Oath of Vengeance subclass. Look at this art.
Oh, that's great.
Right? I feel called out with the architect of his own destruction. Yeah, sometimes you got to play, like, because look, everyone has the story of they came into town, killed my family, burned my village to the ground. I was the only survivor. I'm out seeking revenge. How many characters sit around and go, everything bad that's happened because I made this choice. This is a choice that I made, and it cannot be fixed. It cannot be avenged because it was my choice. The angst. Feel like a druid's trauma would either involve fire or mass deforestation.
I mean,
I
did crush the whole life out of a druid and make her into a husk of who she was by magically poisoning her town, the river, and the entire forest around her, and pissing off a spider god and turning a bunch of spiders into zombies.
Spider zombies were pretty cool, though.
I'm still very proud of my spider zombies.
Yeah, like, let's see, druid trauma. I have a druid with trauma in that they wandered, as a kid, they wandered away from the group, and someone came through and killed all of the whole family, and they came back and just found it and ran away. But again, that's killing the whole family. I do like the idea of just, they killed my pet squirrel, and now I'm going full John Wick.
Look, Doom Guy is the finest protagonist in history because he got the shittiest guard job in Mars because he refused to participate in a war crime. And so they're like, listen, you go to the ass end of the universe and no one's going to care about you. And then he had to fight demons. And when he gets back from fighting demons, he finds out the demons killed his pet rabbit. And then he willingly goes back into hell and does so much damage for so long that he becomes their boogeyman. That they write legends. Like mama demons whisper to baby demons at night. If you don't behave, Doom Guy is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And that is awesome.
New character concept.
Poor
or
Daisy.
new background lore thing. All tieflings are afraid of the Doom Guy.
Hey, yeah, that's actually really good.
Okay. I have to read this off because this is so good and 100% something I would do, and I might actually be doing a little bit in this home game. Chrysicon says, the funny thing is my roommate decided that his new character is trying to get revenge on his previous character. So that's kind of like causing this to yourself, just to your other self. New backstory idea. The character doesn't have trauma. They are the trauma. Okay, look. Soul identifies as a natural disaster. They aren't part of the problem. They are the whole problem. We don't do things halfway. Exactly. Poor Daisy, right? That's one of the biggest tragedies of the Doominal Crossing crossover is that there is a character already named Daisy in Animal Crossing, and it's not a bunny. Doom Guy's revenge story. Yes, Doom Guy's revenge story is excellent. Doom Guy is Link. You're gonna have to explain that one, Lurking Writer, because David has feels about Link.
I'm locked in now.
David, you have pinged. You have
because a Doom Guy doesn't strike me as a bottom, and so someone's gonna have to explain this to me.
On the other hand, Doom Gal plus Isabella's friendship goal. Yes.
Oh.
Fishing rods, big fucking guns, hell yeah, together we are one.
Bottom of what? Okay, look. So Link, there are tops and there are bottoms. Okay, good, because that started a whole rant.
Yeah. I'm gonna distract. I'm gonna distract with cool art of a dead spider or a dying spider.
It's like one of those dolls with the pull string in the back, and you're just like, yeah.
That's exactly what that was. I think I can share a link to the video in chat, but it's Doom Guy is Link Theory on YouTube. Luke explains it so much better than I could. I know what we are watching as soon as the stream is over. Yep. There's no way Link knows what sex is. Says Ribbonanza.
You can't tell me that Link spent more than 30 seconds in Gerudo Valley and doesn't have a deep and very clear understanding of what sex is.
Personally,
and also, you don't need to bone in order to be a bottom.
personally, I subscribe to the theory that Link is incredibly dirty and vile in the signing. And like most people just don't know that Link is just signing really terrible, horrible, raunchy things. And it amuses me to no end. You know what? I think I'm agreeing with Ribbonanza there. It's okay,
Also,
David. It's okay.
So I'm very excited about the next Zelda game because you get to play as Zelda.
God, all these woke people making Zelda a girl is just a step too far.
Hello, Tabletop Junkie Games on YouTube. Thanks for stopping by and say hello. But okay, so
yes. Reminder, if you have questions, we are answering them in addition to talking about Zelda.
Ostensibly, we're talking about the new PHB, but also we're talking about quick detour for Zelda. I am very excited to play basically Link's Awakening, but Zelda. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. Apparently, there's a horse. But
there's a couple horses. There's a really small horse.
I have one regret, one small regret. And that is I will not be able to march Link down into Gerudo Valley and dress him up like a tart. It hurts me. Yeah, okay. Chris says Link was living with Zelda between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And he probably was like, oh boy, it's much cheaper to live with my best friend. We sleep in the same bed because it saves money. So Link is Zelda's knight. Which means, like, I'm sure he enjoys spending time with the princess, but he does whatever she says. And also that bed is narrow. So either they really shared the bed, or Princess Zelda was kind enough to let Link sleep at the foot of her bed and then use it when she wasn't there.
I want to talk about wizards really quick.
Okay.
Because like, look at this art, right? Look at this amazing magical little gnome. Look at this art, right? Look at this
big
suave mother lover, right? Right? This is everything we need. So that's an evoker and an illusionist. And then there's the diviner. Like, you can feel the different flavors in these classes just by the art. So like, the people complaining that the art doesn't make these characters cool, heck off. Heck off. Link is Zelda's silent knight. All is calm. All is...
It's Link's house because it says so on the little sign, but Zelda went in there and changed everything she wanted. She remodeled it. She had him go down to the bottom of the well and dig out a little place for her to have like a secret getaway, and then told him to get away, to leave and not come back, and then hid a thing that she was working on for him down there.
Color schemes are legitimately awesome. Yeah, like, again, there are people complaining that the art isn't good, isn't inspirational. And part of it is like, well, we want, like, the old art was sketchy and it was better and it gave you more imagination. And I'm like, okay, look. There's still sketchy art, y'all. Like, it's there. It's just those great, big, bright colored splash things. Okay, do you know, we give all sorts of tips and tricks here, including Kickstarter. Do you know what makes a Kickstarter successful, especially a TTRPG Kickstarter successful? It's not whatever you've written. It's not your it's the art. I don't care how cool your mechanics are. You gotta have good art or else your Kickstarter will not perform. And if you have a bad game but good art, your Kickstarter will fund. So WotC knows exactly what they're doing because they know what sells things, and it's art. Wait, people are complaining I must be back on Earth, right? Yeah, I mean, people are always going to complain, but, you know, it's often, well, this isn't exactly how I would have liked it done. So, and look, I've got, like I said, I'm never going to be using the starting materials that come with the backgrounds now, right? I am always going to take the 50 gold points and buy what I want because I don't like the options they give me. I am going to be negotiating different feats than what come with your background. Like that doesn't do, especially there's 16 backgrounds. So there's only 16 feats you can start with. And it comes with a feat, your status increase, your stat increases, your starting equipment, and none of that's going to be perfect for a character I want, right? Because I have, as some of y'all know, characters spring into my brain mostly formed. So I have to make the system work for the character. I'm gonna be changing. I'm gonna be negotiating with my GM. That's not me sitting here saying this is bad. It's really cool that they've taken a lot of that off of your species and put it into your background. I just think the background options need a little bit more wiggle room.
Yeah, and like people who love 3.5, like their big thing is, oh man, I have so many more options in terms of like how I can create. And here they're giving you more options to make a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're complaining that they give you more options.
Yeah. And yes, there are absolutely like, there's a couple pieces of art in here where I'm like, it's not for me. Right. But again, and this is a couple specific groups of people that I've seen calling these things out. And like one of them was like, well, again, like their big complaint is like the original art was like sketchy and not colored, and that was better. And it's like,
so we should make a book look like it came out in 1979? What?
Look at this druid, y'all. Look at this druid.
I have talked to people about movies, and they're like, oh man, I'm really mad they switched to digital. And it's like, please get into your time machine and go back to the Dark Ages. Like the Catholic Church right there. Just hop on a flight.
Like, look, practical effects are awesome in movies. Jonathan?
Yes.
But
their complaint is that they switched to digital cameras.
Film. Yes.
And it's like,
contrarians to be contrary.
So much cheaper.
Prescon says they would love to get into their time machine, David. As a Doctor Who fan as a child, is still a Doctor Who fan decades later, I feel like this has put me in a good stead for accepting that change is inevitable, even when and even necessary. Yeah, like again, I still, even before, like, if this hit D&D Beyond tomorrow, right? I don't know when the PHB is hitting D&D Beyond, but if this hit D&D Beyond tomorrow, literally this weekend, I'm starting a home game with David, where David is GMing, and I am playing an ASMR. If this were out tomorrow when we started playing, I would be like, David, I don't want to use I don't want to use the player's handbook ASMR. I don't even want to use the previous. I want to use the legacy ASMR because I like that build better, right? These are conversations you can have. The stuff is still there. It's still available. And again, I went like, hey, David, I want to play a tiefling. I want to play a character who was born a tiefling and then as a young adult was turned into an ASMR. So I would like a tiefling visual with an ASMR stat block. Easy conversations to have. Easy. Things won't always be exactly for you. Look, one of us is femme. One of us, I won't say who is black. Both of us grew up with people in video games who were not like us in one way or another. And even though neither David nor I look exactly like Cloud, we both love the fuck out of Cloud.
The things I would do to Cloud. The tears he would shed. But yeah, it's so like whenever something new rolls out, someone's always going to find something to complain about.
Yeah.
And a certain subclass of people will always complain, even if they get the white, male, blonde, blue-eyed, unfailing, flawless protagonist they are looking for.
The Lurking Rider says, hot take, David has better hair than Cloud.
I don't think it's a hot take at all.
Ilaria says, I think it's because the more detail is in the art, people start to feel as though they're tied to what is shown because they can or can't work or think beyond it. For me, I'd find it a fun challenge in working with some base elements to show and yet making it entirely my own. And yeah, look, David has seen some of my tiefling design. I have a tiefling who I've never gotten to play. It's the first, actually, I made this exact dice for this tiefling years ago at this point, and I've still never gotten to play them. But this tiefling, their horns start here, and their horns grow out across their eyebrows, and they have like stalks that come up in so like deer antlers, except they start here and then grow up under behind the hair. I love going like, what's there and how can I make it weird, right? Kinley has, obviously not in Baldur's Gate because it didn't give me, Kinley has white freckles and like the goat square pupils. What? Because I can. I can be weird. I'm going to be weird. Why be normal when you can be weird? And yes, Sephiroth is,
Gave that bitch what she... No, here's what I keep circling back to, is that there is a specific subclass of people, especially in niche hobbies, like because you saw it in Warhammer, you've seen it in WotC, you've seen it in Magic, you've seen it in D&D, you've seen it in like all these nerd spaces. You're seeing it a lot in Star Wars. And it's like, this specific group of people cannot be pleased ever about anything. And I just want to throw rocks at them. But also, I need to make clear that there are people who ride too hard for their fandoms. There are people who are like, my fandom cannot be criticized at all whatsoever. And this is not that channel. We are not those people. Thank you, WotC, for the PHB. We're extremely happy that we are included in all the cool things that you're doing. However, we have gone, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing, guy? Fella, pal, buddy, what are you doing? The OGL stuff? I'm still mad that they found a way to throw a wrench in the works when it comes to working with Larian Studios. And dear WotC, I don't think it's too late. I think if you go on your hands and knees and cry with a big bag of money, they'll take you back. Okay? Like this, look, y'all have kids together. You got to make it work. Maybe there's a little spark there, but we will be the first people. Like, if Kay got the PHB and opened it up and was like, this is garbage, this is piping hot garbage, that's what we'd be saying right now. But it seems like most of the changes are good to great, and all the new stuff is good to great, and there's some stuff that's like meh, and there's some stuff where it's like, well, we're gonna see because we have to play it out.
Yeah. And like, the changes aren't massive, right? Like they specifically said it will still be like reverse compatible. So one of the first things that one of my friends who I play and who also GMs a lot asked me was like, for Rangers especially, right? If I buy this new book, do I not need the original player's handbook, Tasha's, and whatever the other one was that made Rangers feasible? And I'm like, well, the answer is yes, if it's one of these 4 subclasses, right? We spend a lot of time on this channel talking about it, and I'm not, there's a difference between separating art from the artist when it comes to people being problematic, especially people who are still alive, right? We talk about, especially with historical stuff, you do have to kind of grade on a curve, right? Because yes, the world was different back then. How quickly are they adapting? But I think it is very, very important, and it is an art that the internet has helped to remove from society by and large, has taken very large steps to remove, that you can like something and still be critical of it. You can like something and say there's still room for improvement. You can like something and say this could be better. And this is, like we said, there are no half species in this. There are no discussions on how to play a half anything. It's good that some of that problematic language is gone. It's not so good that it's just like gone and there's no discussion on
the casual erasure of it all.
Yes.
And spoiler alert, everyone watching, if I'm running a game, there are going to be halfsies all over the place. There are going to be mixed bloods and mud bloods and whatever other fantasy-centric slurs you've got, because they're going to be boning. They're going to be making the beast with two backs. They're going to be making, they're going to be doing all the other really uncomfortable euphemisms for
especially
the
with the
it.
type of people, with the people we play TTRPGs with,
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, there's always time for romance. The Candace motto, there's always time for romance.
Right.
Gnorks.
What? That's
Again, I got a T-fork.
Look, if the dragon and donkey from Shrek could do it,
Right.
we can do it.
We had a whole debate about, is it T-fork or is it Orkling? And look, Orkling is really cute, but Orkling could also be conceived as orc and
Baby orc.
halfling,
Oh yeah.
which that hurt someone.
Yeah. And also, if you're on the side of the family that's if you're on one of the sides of the family, because like siblings are siblings, nibblings are nibblings. So Orkling is some sort of relation on one side or the other. Oh, I'm gonna make a fork joke. No, I'm gonna make a spork joke. At some point there will be a spork joke.
Yes. Yeah,
Elks.
Brandon,
We're gonna take all the elks and put them in a lodge.
David didn't have a chance to like make spork jokes with Brandon because Brandon just caused too much psychic damage for David too quickly.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah. So
The
I
only
guess
question
that
is was the pain 1d12 or 2d6?
It's 2d6 because I think it was guaranteed at least 2 points of psychic damage.
Yeah.
Like let's be real about that.
Very accurate. Very accurate.
Yeah, so I ran over this, but I want to be very, very clear. The species in the new player's handbook are Asimar, Dragonborn, Dwarf, Elf, Gnome, Goliath, Halfling, Human, Orc, Tiefling. There are no kobolds. There are no bugbears. There are no goblins.
There's no Warforged?
No Warforged.
Yo. I don't agree. Because
That's why you got the old player's handbook.
how am I supposed to roll out data in a fantasy setting if I don't have a Warforged?
That's when you go play Starfinder, I guess. Which we are also going to have a talk about Starfinder because I have been messing around with the new Starfinder 2E playtest. I have strong opinions about that because both Solarians and Witch Warpers are no longer charisma classes. And I got some opinions, good and bad. No centaurs, correct, no centaurs. So dorks equal half orc, half dwarf, cleric, wizards, right? Exactly. I love that. So we are only leftars and rightars. Thank you so much, Lurking Writer. Thank you so much. You can still use the 2014 stuff with the 2024 stuff. Yep.
Now I'm gonna put a Reptar in a game somewhere just to make everyone who ever watched Rugrats back in the day, because I'm still haunted by the meme of the dude like in the kitchen making pudding, and his wife comes in and is like, "What are you doing? Why are you making pudding at 3 o'clock in the morning?" And also, they're supposed to be in their 30s.
Mhm.
Those chewed up creatures are supposed to be in their 30s. Anyway.
So we are nearing the end of the stream. I don't know why I'm suddenly doing a Shatner, but here we are.
It always comes back to Shatner. Everything in my life.
Yeah, we were just in a conversation about Shatner the other day. What was it?
We were talking about how sexy
early
young
Shatner.
William
Yeah,
Shatner is.
yeah, that's what it was. I don't even remember where.
Because the man, he had it. Okay. Yeah, the Rugrats were okay. So like, Susie was fine. She behaved herself all the time. The rest of them, and I am stunned that they didn't have who was the evil older girl. I'm surprised they didn't have her like
Angelica.
Angelica. I'm surprised they didn't have her picking
I don't know
flies
why
off
I know
of wings.
That. I know
and
why I
making
did
her
that
walk.
because DeviantArt.
Yeah, please tell me no, Kay, no, they didn't make art of it.
Hey, Dr. Imto. Oh, nope, never mind. Yep, of course they did. You know they did.
But that's so disgusting. That is so upsetting. Some lines should not be crossed.
Yeah, but you know.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have her like just doing heinous things, like setting ants on fire with a magnifying glass. All stuff that leads to being a serial killer later. Because let's face it, that's the road she's on.
That's right. Yeah, someone mentioned Shatner. David had plenty to say about it, so that's usually the way things go. But as I said, we are winding down. So if you have any final questions, I know that DC is going to be doing another deep dive into the PBH on his channel later on. Yep. So if you are not following DC, you should go do that.
There should be a command.
Well, I am typing it. There we go. I dyslexia'd shout out, so it took me a couple attempts. But if you have any final questions for us about the book, about what's in here, about anything specific, again, if it's not under embargo, because there's still a couple things that I can't talk about or show, but if you have questions, I would be so happy to answer them. We're doing another dive through the PBH or future books. Future books for sure. PBH, if we get like a list of questions or specific things, we probably will. Or like if I end up going through character creation and I'm like, okay, y'all, so I've done this, I got opinions now. That is a possibility. However, I want to play the not even this not out yet ASMR version. I don't even want to play the current out ASMR. I want to play the legacy ASMR. I am not sure I'm thrilled on Tiefling character creation in this. And they don't have a Drake Warden Ranger in this, so probably I'm not going to be using this yet. But I do have another potential 5e game starting. But I was going to play Kobold in that, and they certainly don't have kobolds in this book. So,
also, if like you think of something tonight while you're laying in, because I know you think of us late at night, right before you go to sleep. Hit us on the Discord.
Yeah.
Make a tweet and add us in the tweet. And we are happy to answer your questions. Kay will answer your questions with expertise and I will answer with sarcasm.
But yes, we will definitely be going through the other books when we get them. We are so fortunate that that WotC has included us in the D&D Creators program, which is why we have this early. The Dungeon Master, I have a little dirt for the Dirt Man, and I think of y'all. Yep. Mm-hmm. He's going to be singing that for the next 3 days, which means it's going to be in my head. So thank you, Rex. That was gone for a brief shining moment in time. The Dungeon Master's Guide is allegedly coming out this year, so I'll probably be diving into that as soon as we get that. course, with my luck, it's going to come right in the middle of my move. So, we'll see. We need to schedule that. Oops. Oh, that's the other thing. There's no tabaxi in this.
Yikes. Boo. If I can't have a tabaxi monk. Boo.
David has never played anything other than a human. And I'm like, David, I know it's going to make you play a non-human. And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, You play a tabaxi monk and you do the TikTok guy.
Yeah. Look, I've been on TikTok for a while now, and my two favorite things on TikTok are Black people who own cats. Like those TikToks always great. But then also there's a comedian who does voiceovers for cats, and always top notch. And it's a Black. Actually, he was at, wasn't the Comedy Store. It was the other one. But he was
Laugh Factory.
He was at Laugh Factory late last year, and I actually couldn't get to go for miscellaneous reasons, and I'm sad. But
are you going to deliver us a little little taste?
But he, in the voice of the cats, he always roasts, and like one of my favorites is set your oven to 475. I just forgot the rest of it, but there will be a tabaxi monk at some point that delivers relentless skibbity paps to any and everything. I will pick every fight, and everybody will be named Clancy, and it'll be great.
I know you ain't taking my catnip. Told you.
Right.
Told you, Clancy. Yeah. DC says he closes his eyes and thinks, Kay and David are cool. I hope they're doing well.
Aww.
I think the same of you, DC.
Yeah.
Vivian says, since I'm obligated to be a cat girl since I'm a trans woman, that's heresy. Right? Look, look. Everyone knows I love me some 5e. I really do. I genuinely love 5e. You could say whatever you want about me. I have played a billion systems. I have played so many systems. I still enjoy 5e. I will not apologize for it. I enjoy it. But Pathfinder, you have your species and then you have your ancestry. So in Pathfinder, I can play an infernal cat person. I can literally play a hairless cat person with goat horns. And that brings me so much joy. Like that's just one of the things that Pathfinder has a leg up on. Tabaxi rogue pirate who's afraid of water, Rust on the Harbor, created by Johnny Ciccone, said Catman is the sweetest fluffball in D&D. Johnny makes the best cat characters and NPCs, even when they don't intend to. That is adorable. The Tabaxi monk should be named Mr. Buttons, or just the name of any cat. So the first D&D one shot that I played, it was like set in a modern day. So I played an internet celebrity cat who was one of the Kenneth Cheeseburger, one of the just adorable little flat-faced cats who always wore a frog hat on the internet, right? But then his owner adopted a kitten. And while they were filming the adorable kitten, he got pissed off and walked up and just smacked the shit out of the baby kitten. And so the internet turned on him. And so through a whole series of events, he got taken in by a wizard, and he was shitty to the wizard. And the wizard turned him into a tabaxi and was making him do this was like a tournament thing. So he was a tabaxi monk whose symbol was the cat hat, whose power came out of the frog hat. And his name was Sir Alistar Whiskers McFluffy Bottom the Third or something like that. It was such a long name.
There was a Biloxi in there somewhere.
Yeah, with just this cat, this gray cat and a frog hat and a spears. My cat was named Ravioli. Oh. Yes, but have you played the TTRPG based on the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, now with
That
Bard
meme-
available and a DLC class as the official website?
That meme will never die. Never, ever die. That meme will be eternal.
Hello, I am a giant cat person. You may call me Frank. Prerogative Wizard. Yeah, like, look, my T-Fork, half tiefling, half orc, has a chunky little stubby dinosaur tail, little bitty wings, tusks, and horns, and his name is Brandon. No one's prepared for that. No one's ever prepared for that.
It's still devastating. Mentally and now physically.
If you like art of adorable D&D creatures, adorable animals being D&D classes, if you are not following Archer Art on the Twitter, please go do. She is incredible. She did the original artwork of Kai, and she's done a couple other things for me. Her art is incredible, and she does adorable drawings of animals, of like regular animals as D&D classes. And it's just joy. But
I remember that art. Look, that art was so fucking good. Some of the best art.
Yes. But we have now gone over, since we have not had additional questions. Like I said, we will be going over the future books when we get them. If we come up with more stuff to talk about, we definitely will. Probably going to take some time to talk about Starfinder 2E, because I have opinions about that. And at some point, I feel like we're going to go back and talk about the Deck of Many Things, because David and I are David's about to run a home game in which that will probably feature prominently.
Yeah,
if he decides to experiment with it that way.
I gotta go crack open my copy and start digging through it.
Yeah, look up the way I think it will be very useful for this particular setting, David, is you're gonna have to like make up dungeons and locations on the fly while we're out exploring.
Mm-hmm.
And this has a method to use the Deck of Many Things as a dungeon generator, which is very cool. Question: will you have an awesome week? I certainly hope so as well.
But while y'all lay in bed at night thinking about me, and I lay in bed at night thinking about y'all, I also think about different weird spaces to put in the thing that Kay and I are doing. And I have, at this point, pages of notes about them. So there will be some things encountered that will be new even for Kay.
And yes, you do have to imagine both Dungeons and Dragons. And I know that is
look, if you get 4 or 5 guys in a room and point at them and tell me they're Imagine Dragons, I will believe you.
Okay, look, y'all. If you do not subscribe to Dropout TV, number 1, you're just missing out. But number 2, there is a show on that called Breaking News, where they put four of the people in a fake newsroom setting, and they run teleprompters, and they have to read off the teleprompters. They don't know what's going to be on it, and they get their deducted points anytime they break, as in they laugh or they smile. I made David watch. They did an episode where Grant is an incredible personality. If you're not familiar with Grant, I hope you get to learn about Grant. But Grant was in one season of Dimension 20, which is their D&D game, and knows basically nothing about D&D. And he was on with Abria Iyengar, Erika Ishii, and Allie Beardsley. And they made Grant, they're like, yes, this is the history of D&D. Improv. And so Grant had to try to make up the founding of D&D. What are classes? What are races in D&D? It was incredible.
It would be legendary. Legendary.
It was, yeah.
Especially when Abria had a, like, moment.
Game changer, breaking news, Grant. And then, actually, with Brennan, yes. Like, it's really good. There's also an entire series of Grant shaming, which I also made David watch. Which David was like, this started out funny. It's officially a war crime. If anyone comes at me like this, just kill me. Just kill me now. I can't. A dragon that's a dungeon or vice versa. Have the problem.
Look, I am going to make a Miss Frizzle magic school bus module where you go inside of a dragon and have to fight your way out.
Well, you know that at some point we're going to have everyone get shrunk down and put inside of Moment.
Okay, I have to make a note.
All right. And on the cake is a liar. I have a friend who is demanding attention. So I think we are going to have to wrap up. Ow. That's just a dungeon man from Earthbound. Miss Frizzle is a rogue time lord like Mary Poppins was.
Yep.
Exactly. So
And Mary Poppins is an evil time lord. Fight me. Mary Poppins is the villain of that movie. Anyway, we're not gonna.
Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you all for being so incredibly kind and engaging and always making our Tuesdays wonderful. We appreciate you so much. David, who are we rating?
Xander.
All right, so we're gonna go see Xander playing The Legend of Zelda to keep on theme, obviously. I hope we will get to see you Thursday and Friday for Baldur's Gate. If not, we will be right back here on Tuesday for more of this. Moment us is better. It was a momentous encounter.
I already copied it down. So Rex, when we use this to title one of our Christmas charity games, you will get credit. But yoink. Big yoink.
So yes, thank you all so much. I have to go give this one attention. Be kind to yourself, be excellent to others, and we will see you next time.
Okay, we're